Welcome back to another edition of the Pagcast. I'm your host, Michael Pagani, joined alongside Windsor Spitfires forward Oliver Pierre. Oliver, thank you again for taking time out of your day to come on the Pagcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
How have you been doing recently? I know that you guys came off a tough, Game 7 loss. There was a bit of a blowout there, which is not something you like to see. And right now, the Bulldogs are going up against the Sea Dogs in the Mem Cup final. But how have you been doing recently?
I've been good. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's not the result we're looking for, but, I'm just taking away the positives, and I'm happy I got the experience. I'm really happy and grateful for the year that I had, and I'm just looking forward to next season.
Let's get into, I guess, a bit of who you are. So my first question to really open this up is there a player growing up who you wanted to model your game after?
When I was kind of growing up, it was a lot of Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid kind of came into the picture a little later. So I guess Connor McDavid was a guy that everyone was kind of looking up to. He's a really fast player. I try to play like that. Nowadays, I kind of look to play like Matt Barzal. I really like his style of play, and I think we play kind of the same game.
Was there someone who influenced you to get into hockey, whether it was your dad? I know your older brother did play for Hayden Hockey, there for a while as well.
Yeah, well, it was actually my brother. So, I mean, we're in Canada, and, there's not too many people not playing hockey. So, he started playing, and I saw him playing, and I thought it was really cool, hanging out at the rink, watching his games. So, then I got into it as soon as I could. Started with House League, and then moved on to rep.
Born in the GTA, what was your favorite team growing up?
Hate to admit this, but it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm loyal. I stand by them, but it's been a tough ride with those boys.
Yeah, it has been. They haven't had the best playoff success, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Burlington, Ontario is actually starting to become a place that has been good for growing and developing young NHL players. Shane Wright's coming up in this year's draft, Mitchell Brooks as well, Josh Anderson, etc. What's it like being from this area that is now becoming known as a spot for great talent?
Well, I think it's just it's a great city, a great place to grow up, and there's a lot of rinks around, a lot of good players coming here, like you said, and I think it's just it's good atmosphere. It's a great place to grow up, and the stats are showing that.
Let's get into your career here. We're going to talk about the Burlington Eagles, obviously, to start off. How did that team make you a better player?
I think Burlington, I played there my whole rep career, starting from Tyke all the way to minor midget, and it was just made a lot of memories there, and just kind of found my game. I was able to do things, play my game, and just kind of identify myself as a player.
You were actually a point per game player in the 2019 playoffs with those Burlington Eagles. What do you remember from that run?
Well, I remember it's not too uncommon in the playoffs, but we had a lot of injuries, so I was getting a lot of ice, and I stepped up and made some big plays, and it was just a lot of fun back in the day. Minor hockey. Looking back, it's a great time, and playoffs. I always get really excited for that, and it's time to show up.
One of my favorite memories with you has to be when, you played Hayden Jr. and, you were taking over games because of the skill possessed. But not only did you play with the junior hockey team, but you also played with the lacrosse team. When it came to that big decision to continue with your hockey, how did you factor in? Like, what were some of the factors that you had to take out? Because you were a really good lacrosse player, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, lacrosse is a fun game. It's a little nasty with the slash. It's a super Canadian game. I do love lacrosse, but yeah, like my true passion was always hockey, and I knew that. And lacrosse was always a fun. Like I love all sports. I played a lot of sports growing up, so I think it just came to the decision where it was at that point in my career where I had to kind of just take one route.
And what would you say was your favorite memory from Hayden Hockey looking back?
I would have to say when we won that, I don't remember the name. It was that tournament in Grimsby when we beat Notre Dame in the finals. They were a heavy favorite.
Yeah, they were.
And we ended up winning in the finals, and that was just a great game for me. Obviously, I couldn't play varsity because of that silly rule where you can't play outside of school.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to play varsity. But yeah, that junior memory was huge. You were there, of course. You were the biggest supporter of us, and I don't think we could have done it without you.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny because I was actually trying to remember that Grimsby tournament name, and it couldn't come to me. But that is definitely one of my favorite memories because actually, I don't think we ever won a tournament the remainder of that season.
Yeah, I know.
We had such a stacked team, but we only showed up for the Grimsby one.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying it was definitely my best memory because it was like it was a good group of guys.
It was.
You were there, you knew like exactly what was happening, and it was just it was a fun time. Especially I knew a lot of guys, you knew a lot of guys on that other team, so it was good to beat them.
Playing in the GTHL is an amazing accomplishment as they are regarded as one of the largest minor hockey organizations in the world. Heading into your season with JRC, what was one goal you wanted to achieve, and did you happen to achieve that?
Well, like for me, it was like it was the first year that I was able to go to the G because the borders open for the midget year, so I thought it was a good move for my development. And over the past years, my whole goal has just to been develop and just try to get better every day. I mean, and then I did accomplish that. I mean, over the JRC year, it was a great organization, great development, great coaches, great teammates, great league. And yeah, it was a great experience, really good for my development, and I accomplished my goal of just getting better each day, one at a time.
How did you find out that the season was going to get canceled from the pandemic?
Well, we were in playoffs, and we actually got knocked out by the Toronto Red Wings in an upset, and before they could even start their next round of playoffs, it was announced that it got canceled. And it was that's kind of when it was real for me. Or I think it was maybe when the NBA shut down. It was one of those things where I was like, wow, like holy cow, like this thing's real.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah, I know it's a bit unfortunate that that season never ended. Like we will never know really who would have been the champion that year.
Yeah, and then even the year after that, I think it was it was a tough thing, but it was tough for everyone, right? I mean, people are saying, some guys missed out on important years, but I think it was just, it was just unfortunate, obviously. I mean, even outside of hockey, like, there's people, like, losing their lives and stuff, so it was just, it was a tough year for the entire world, which is crazy looking at it now, but I'm glad we're back to normal now. I'm glad we're kind of, heading in the right way.
Well, I'm going to ask a question about the OHL return to play format just a bit later in the interview. But through the pandemic, I was actually told that you practiced with the Burlington Cougars. And although you never really, played any regular season games with them, how important was it to continue that work to put in, knowing what happened with you in the OHL?
That year was actually critical for my development because I signed with the Junior Cougars, which was actually, I was supposed to play a second year of midget.
Yeah.
They kind of told me to come out to their camp just for a skate. They liked me. They invited me to another week, and then they were like, we like you, we'll sign you. So we were practicing 4 times a week. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't see anybody on the ice that much, aside from my team. Even other OJHL teams weren't on the ice that much. OHL teams were far. A lot of kids don't live in their OHL hometowns.
Billets, right? Yeah.
Like, rinks weren't really open, and me being able to live in Burlington was really a blessing. Really grateful for that. I was able to go on the ice 4 times a week during it. Maybe a couple weeks off, but I was like going like full out scrimmages, and that really helped me. And then I felt like I was like in good shape, and I was just getting better. So it was a really good. I mean, it wasn't good. I'd obviously rather have a season, but for what the circumstances were, it was perfect.
It was the best case scenario because,
exactly.
Like you mentioned, all the rinks were shut down, and probably the majority of the OJ Burlington Cougars couldn't come out to play, right? Because they're from all over Ontario.
Exactly, and even other teams. Like I know U.S. leagues were playing and other leagues were playing, but in Canada, in Ontario, it was like I didn't know anybody who was going on the ice as much as me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just a great time for me. It was a good age for me to develop. I'm still at a good age to develop, but it was really good for me.
Going into this season, you had two offers, one from the London Knights and one from the Windsor Spitfires. You obviously selected the latter of the two. How come?
Well, I mean, London wasn't. I don't know. It was like I had a couple of OHL teams talking to my agent and talking to me, and my agent just said like go to Windsor, go to camp, and honestly, going to Windsor, I didn't even really necessarily want to play there. I was just thinking before this season in the OJHL, which is not as good of a league. I was thinking if I can go have some scrimmages against some OHL guys. When I come back to the OJHL, I'll be
that
fine.
much better. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be used to the higher skill level, that. Obviously, I had a good camp, and I knew I was going to have a good camp, and they offered me a good contract, and I ended up taking it, and the rest is history. But it was a really good decision, and I'm happy with the one I made.
Well, look, I mean, obviously the Windsor Spitfires made it further than the London Knights, right? So you always have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I mean, good on Kitchener. I knew they were going to be good in the playoffs. They're good. They were a good team. They really underperformed this year in terms of the regular season.
Yeah.
We had a lot of trouble with them in the regular season. In the playoffs, we finished them in 5, but I knew they were going to give London a good run for their money, and they ended up beating them. I do think London's a better team, and they should have won, but good on Kitchener for that.
No matter what, you were going to be coached by someone who many would actually consider be Jack Adams candidates. What's it like being coached by Marc Savard this season?
He is a guy, I mean, his numbers are incredible. He's a guy, when he's talking, you listen, because he's got something good to say. He's got so much experience in this league. He's got so much experience in the NHL. He's won Stanley Cups, Memorial Cups. It's truly breathtaking. I mean, I remember when I was in grade 4 or 5, I had a PSP. I was playing NHL 07 using him on my PSP.
Did you tell him that?
Oh yeah, I told him.
That's the best.
And it was like, it's crazy because I mean it's not that crazy anymore. I mean I see the guy every day.
Yeah.
But sometimes I look back and I'm like,
holy shit, dude! This guy, I was playing a video game with this guy
exactly,
10 years ago. Yeah, that's wild.
It's pretty cool. I remember he was rated like a 90 overall, one of the highest in the game. I think Yager was higher than him and Joe Thornton was higher than him. But he was, even in the game, he was sick.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. Now, obviously, with the news of many NHL vacancies, there's rumors saying that Savard could end up being an NHL coach next season. What worked best for you under his system?
I mean, he obviously he was a playmaking forward, and he's all about letting us make our own plays and being creative in the offensive zone, and I think that's what really worked for us, right? Like there was no set way of doing things in the offensive zone, especially because he was like you guys are all skilled players, and we know you can make plays, so go out there and do your thing, and that worked for us. I mean, we had a very strong offensive core. And I think that's the main reason why we were able to go so far and why we did what we did.
Well, look, I mean, Maj had a breakout season with, I think, almost over 40 goals, right?
Yeah.
Wyatt Johnston, Pagcast alumni, he won OHL MVP. So obviously, that's definitely results coming from Savard's playmaking ability like you're talking about.
Yeah, we were actually the highest. We scored the most goals in the OHL. So,
yep.
We were just like an offensive powerhouse. I mean, we also had great D, great goaltending. We were a complete team, but I think in some games we were able to kind of overwhelm teams, and we played so many good goalies in the playoffs, but we were able to beat them, put in 7 goals on them. So it was a great team.
When we take a look back at the season, I feel like many people will forget that, the season started without fans. The season also had, Erie and those like American teams only playing against one another due to the border closure, and even had games postponed because of COVID. That must seem crazy to you now that we got through the season, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty scary for a couple months. I mean, without the fans and stuff, it was like, are we doing this again? But the league did a good job, I think, with, committing to giving us a season, especially with absolutely no season last year. But then by the end, like that last game against Hamilton, how many 12,000 fans?
Yeah.
I mean, that was something really special to be part of. And even like the last 4 games we had in our barn, we were
Selling them out,
completely
right?
sold
Yeah.
out, super loud. So it's the fans make a big difference more than you think.
When you have games that get postponed, how does that affect your normal routine?
Well, I just mean it's just kind of like it just kind of changes everything. It's like it's when they're postponed, and then it's so many COVID tests, and you're going home and you're coming back. So I mean, it's just kind of like it's something you never want, obviously, but it was there this year a little, and like I said, the league did a good job. We didn't miss. All of our games were rescheduled, but yeah, we did have a couple games off and due to COVID and whatnot.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about your OHL goal there against Saginaw in the 6-5 overtime loss, unfortunately, with the result. That must have felt good to get the monkey off the back.
Yeah, I mean, I was like I've been watching my shifts from the past season recently just to kind of look at what I can do better for next year. Yeah, I mean the chances were there. I mean, I think I was playing well. I mean, I think it was maybe I don't even know what game it was. Maybe my 10th game. I got my first goal, first point, and looking back on it, there was so many opportunities where I wasn't, I just wasn't scoring, or it was giving passes and they weren't going in. But it was just a relief. It was a big goal to tie it, yeah, it was good to just get that monkey off my back.
And just breaking down that play there, Daniel D'Amico, who originally got the puck in the offensive zone to help set up Abraham, who fed you in the slot, and D'Amico I'm talking about here, he was relied upon heavily for the playoffs. What does D'Amico bring to the locker room on a consistent basis?
I mean, D'Amico he's a great guy. Like, honestly, one of the, aside from the hockey, they're just a first-class guy, one of the, best guys I've ever met. But, by the time, he was good all year, he was solid, and when he gets hot, he gets hot. But in the playoffs, he turned this switch.
He stepped up against Flint, I think.
He did not want to go home.
Yeah, especially as a veteran and an overager.
As an OA, this guy turned into a different animal.
Yeah, literally.
Every elimination game we played, obviously aside from Game 7, which we won't talk about, but he showed up. Hat-trick in Game 7 against Flint. 2 goals in Game 6. In Hamilton, he had 2 goals in Game 6.
Yep.
He was just, ready to go.
He was the hottest Spitfire, in my opinion.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
No question. And it showed. You could see it off the ice before the games and during practice. He was not messing around, and he really gave it all. And, I was really sad that the season ended. And it's for guys like that, it's you play for your teammates. And he was a guy who was playing for all the boys. And he's a special player.
What's it like playing in games that can be as high scoring as that 6-5 game? Because you're not really, I wouldn't say you're really used to playing in those type of games.
No, I mean with our kind of play style, we're gonna score a lot of goals. So if a team is gonna
go shot for shot.
Yeah, gonna go shot for shot or try to beat us at all, they're going to need to score a lot of goals, and some teams did that. I mean, I think some of our games were even, a lot of our games were 6-5, 7-5,
Yeah.
So it's something I saw a lot of this year, but luckily we were able to come on top to a lot of those.
Now, my question that I kind of alluded to earlier with the OHL return to play format, the East teams only played the East and vice versa for the West. What team are you looking forward to playing most next season?
Honestly, I don't know if I can pick one. It's just I just really want to play them, right? I want to just the little things, go to the city, go in the rinks, see what the fans are like.
Because you might be getting tired of playing London, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how many times we played Sarnia, but it's I want to play all the other teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Players.
Yep.
I mean, the East. It's I heard it's a different kind of. Different vibe, different conference, but I think we'll do well.
To start the season and kind of throughout that middle part of the season, you were kind of in and out of the lineup, but down the stretch of the season, it seemed like you had finally earned the trust of Savard. What does it mean for you to earn that trust, to be in the lineup on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, I got scratched a couple times, but I didn't really let it get to me too much, and I think I knew I deserved to be in the lineup, and I just had to go out there and show it. And I mean, for whenever it was, I don't remember when, but I was in the lineup for um, all of playoffs except for obviously when I had this weird thing on my neck. But um, I think I played an important role in playoffs. I mean, I was moving up the lineup a lot, moving down the lineup, playing different roles. But I was just glad to get out there, help the team, be a part of it, and it was just a great experience.
And one of the better things that I like about the league is the teddy bear toss. You had the opportunity to play in it, I believe. How fun was that?
Well, yeah, I was actually on the ice when we scored.
Huge.
And, yeah, it was crazy. So it was in Windsor against Kitchener, and we were down 1-0 going into the third, and it was kind of one of those ones where it was like, oh my god, what if we don't score?
You can't be doing that.
And then after I think it was like the third shift, Pasquale Zito ripped a bomb from like the slot, went right in, and it was just raining teddy bears. And I remember it was crazy. It was just like looking. It's like an arc of teddy bears just flying over the glass, taking pictures with them, and it's good too, right? They're donating them all, so it's a really good event, and a lot of people come out, and it was really cool to be a part of that.
It must have been, I guess, hard to refocus after that, after all the teddy bears get cleaned up, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I guess not really for us because we actually came back and won that game. I mean, it may have been harder on them having to sit down and watch us have fun on the ice with those bears, jumping in piles and tossing bears up in the air. But it was, it definitely, I'm not a fan of just like the pop, like even the intermissions. Like I'm just like I just want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a thing that's like, yeah, I mean, it's not something you look forward to, but it kind of is in a way. Like it's just it's a moment you want to be a part of, and it does take away some of the time from the game, but it's fun.
I want to talk about the playoffs here. So, because you obviously going to the OHL finals is something to talk about, but let's talk about the route as well. First round, you guys go up against the Sting, and I guess one of the benefits to the season was you guys seen them 10 times during the regular season. Do you feel as though that's a benefit?
Yeah, I mean, Sarnia, we knew they were going to be a tough series. Like there was going to be no easy series. I mean, we finished 1, they were 8, but. They gave us a good run. I mean, we showed up. We knew we were the better team, and we just had to go out there and play like that, and we did. And they did take us to 6 games. They didn't want to go home, but we showed up and put them away.
The Kitchener Rangers, like you talked about, came off a tough 7-game series against the London Knights. What's it like going into the odd and securing the win and putting them down 3-1 and then eventually finishing them off?
Yeah, I mean, again, they were a low seed, but we didn't take them lightly. I mean, we took game 1, they took game 2, and honestly, in game 2 they were the best I've ever seen them. I mean, like playing in that game, it was hard to play against them. They were strong on pucks. They wanted to win, but I mean, after that, the next 3 games, we kind of just overpowered them again with our offense, and Wyatt Johnson. I mean, Pagcast alum. How many points did that guy have? I mean,
yeah, it was crazy.
That's kind of when he, in my opinion, just kind of started going off, like just doing what he usually does.
Yep.
And he was kind of that everybody kind of fed off Johnny in that series, and it was like it just kind of the floodgates kind of came out for him, and it was just CHL Player of the Week, I think twice in that series or twice in 2 weeks or something. So he was really good for us in that series.
Then in the third round, we talk about the Flint Firebirds a lot. They pushed you guys to your limits, going the distance there. What's it like playing in that do or die 7th game?
It's a good feeling. I mean, I don't know if it's a good feeling, but it's a neat feeling. I mean, everybody's ready to go, and it's one of those things where it's like you try not to focus on what's at stake, but you kind of have to, right? You
Yep.
play with that intensity. I mean. Flint did a really good job in the playoffs. I mean, no one had them going
as far as they did.
Yeah, like they did very well for themselves, and we did really well against them in the regular season. But in playoffs, they showed up, and we didn't want to go home. And I mean, our overagers really stepped up. Parrott scoring that overtime goal in Game 6, and then Meeks with the Hattie in Game 7, but it was a fun series.
Lastly, heading into the series against Hamilton, did it get into the guys' heads, that this team had swept their previous 3 series and that they are a force to deal with?
I mean, not too much. I mean, we knew coming from the East, they had never seen us, and we had players coming over from the East, at the trade deadline saying, like we can do this, guys. Like they're not untouchable, and we kind of had that mindset where we were like we felt that they hadn't really faced a real team and had really been pushed around. And in that game 1, I mean, we scored with 2 minutes left in the third.
You did?
Yeah. And that really, and I felt that was a big momentum shift for them.
It was.
Because they were kind of like.
Because it wasn't, okay, so, but before, wasn't there a Hamilton chance right before your goal? If I remember correctly?
They were,
yeah.
And when, like, their fans are nuts. So, like, when we're coming off in between intermissions, we got fans screaming at us, dogs in 4, dogs in 4. And we're down at the time, too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So like, shut up. But then after that, it was almost like you could feel the energy seep out of the
Yeah, like your goal silenced the crowd. Crowd silenced it. It was the best because obviously I went to that game. Best game that I've ever been to was that game because of how your goal just silenced the crowd. It was crazy because it was a Rickett wrist shot. It was top glove and it just went quiet. I was like, oh my god.
For us, we were thinking like, bam, this is the first time they faced adversity.
Yep, 100%.
This is the first time a team's really pushed them.
Yep.
This is a team really put the heat on them. And then, what do you know? In overtime, Rennie walks in.
Yep.
Wicked wrist.
Snipes, let's go. Oh my.
What a feeling that was. And that was just game 1. And then,
yeah, I know.
And then, even in other games, I mean, we dominated them in other games. I mean, they dominated us in some games, but it was good. And what a goal for Rennie too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Former
former Bulldog. Yeah. That must have been the perfect storyline to win game 1, right?
Yeah,
like, it had to have been.
It was really cool. I mean, he's actually my roommate too. So
oh yeah, nice.
Our billets were really proud. They were like over the moon. They were really happy. They were at the game too. So it was really good for us and it was good to hand them their first loss because, it was just kind of like we had a chip on our shoulder going into that game.
Because you guys are the underdogs, right?
And we were also the first in our division too, right? Like
it's crazy to think that first in your division is actually going to be underdogs in the finals.
Yeah, and it was a dogfight. I mean, like we were going at it toe to toe with the best team in CHL, and I think we could have won that series. I mean, hats off to them. They're a great team. They did a really good job all year, but like it was just obviously not the result we wanted.
You guys dealt with a lot of adversity going into Game 6 at the WFCU. How did that past experience of facing adversity help you guys win Game 6?
Well, I mean, it was kind of one of those things where all year we were comfortable being in that position, and it's not like we wanted to be there, but it was more like we've been there before. Even in the Kitchener series, I think in almost every game we won, we were down 2 goals. Game 5, we were down 3. Like we were never panicking in the circle of doubt. Like we're gonna lose this game. We're not good enough. We stayed calm every game. Even in Flint Game 7 or Game 6 when they were up 3-2, we were down 2-0 going into the third. We were fine. What do you know, Daniel D'Amico? How are you?
Yeah, literally.
Andrew Parrott, thanks for coming.
It just was such a good time watching you guys, following you guys, because of the overagers stepping up to the plate, like we mentioned all this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the OHL, I mean, your career is
so short.
It's short, right?
Yeah.
You don't have time to kind of mess around, and I think that's when it got real for those guys. This is the last of my junior career. I mean, even guys who go, I mean, like Savard has told our whole team his best memories are from junior. I mean, a lot of guys say that their best memories are from junior. So even guys moving on, I mean, they don't want this to end, like this junior career of theirs.
What was your favorite part of this season?
I mean, there's got to be so many, but I think for me it was that win streak we went on near the end of the season.
Yep.
I think it was 13 games, 14 games maybe. It was incredible. It was one of those ones where it was just, everybody was showing up every night, and we were all playing for each other, and it's just kind of when we took over our division, our conference, and it was just special to be. And then I guess also winning the Western Conference. That was another one. I mean, like it was winning the Western Conference was special. I mean, Daniel D'Amico's a guy who came up to me and he said, like, respectfully, he was like you may never make it this far again. Like, this is something to, be really proud of and enjoy this moment. And so it was really cool. I mean, the Wayne Gretzky Trophy and celebrating with the guys. So it was a really good season with lots of memories.
And you guys shut out Flint on home ice, right?
Yeah, I mean, like in that game, like our team, when our backs were against the wall, like we within our arena, like any team that comes in, you're gonna have a tough time playing there. I mean, the way we play, I think we're the most physical team in the OHL, and we didn't want to go home, and we completely shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think they even had a lot, like maybe not even 3 grade A chances. Like, we were just locking it down. Obviously, like I said, guys stepped up, and we were just jumping on them all game.
You played with the OHL MVP, Pagcast alumni, Wyatt Johnston. What can you say about his character that he brings to the team?
Well, I mean, obviously on the ice, he's a special player. He makes plays that other guys can't. Other guys don't see it. And he, like, his numbers, like, look at them. There was this thing that came out today. It was, I forget what was that stat, most points in
playoffs and regular season?
Regular season since DeBrincat.
Yeah.
He had also record-breaking numbers. But off the ice, he was a guy, he was talking to, first-year guys, veterans. Everybody could talk to him, very approachable, very nice, and he likes, he likes to joke around and just be one of the guys, and he's a great guy.
If you were to play another sport, what would it be?
Soccer.
Soccer?
For sure, soccer. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, and they probably don't believe when I tell them, but I'm 50% Spanish.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm half Spanish. So, all my cousins, actually, my aunt just got married in Spain.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Thanks, yeah, obviously I couldn't go because I was doing some stuff here. But,
Yeah.
I love soccer. I mean, we play sewer before every game.
Oh, yeah. Big sewer.
Yeah, big sewer guys. And it's, I don't know, it's a sport. I like to run. I like all sports. I mean, but I think soccer would just be one if I was to play and take seriously. It would probably be soccer would be the...
And one question that I have before it escapes my mind was that, like, you line up against Mason McTavish, who's obviously a star player, 3rd overall to Anaheim. What's it like lining up against these guys that are going to be future NHL stars?
Just want to be better than them.
Yeah, exactly.
Just want to prove that you're just as good. I mean, it's special, right? I mean, like, that guy, he scored a couple NHL goals, and he's going to be in the NHL next year for sure, but that's just your chance to, line up against him and just...
Battle hard.
Battle hard, exactly.
Yeah.
Try to prove you're just as good as, maybe better. I mean, I'm not saying I'm better than the guy, but, that's my mindset, right? I'm trying to play against the best. I'm trying to be the best. So it's just all fun and games, right? Like, there's a lot of guys in the league like that. So it's just a fun experience, and it's cool being playing against those guys.
Last question here for you. Do you have any advice for younger hockey players?
I'd say just, if you want to play the game and you love the game and you're passionate for it, I mean, keep playing. I mean, it's everybody has their own path, and there's no right or wrong way of doing things. So if you are passionate about it and you believe in yourself and you set your mind to what you want, I mean, you can achieve that, and you will achieve that. So just keep playing, and if you're fully dedicated, things will happen for you.
Well, I'd like to thank again Oliver Peer for joining me on today's podcast. Thank you again, Oliver.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was an honor.